tankers, I am wot Blitz and welcome back to my videos. Now this video is on the tier 10 British medium, the FV4202. Now this is actually my 5th attempt trying to record this video because the 4th and 3rd event, my phone decided to set off a flash flood warning and just set an alarm that sounded like a nuclear bomb was going to go off, so that is real fun. But let's hope this is the sweet spot, and I hope that this video works out. Now, the reason this is one of my favorite tier 10 mediums in the game is because of the gun it gets. Now, if you're not familiar with this gun, you will be. It is the Charioteer gun before the nerf, pretty much. It has a 6.9 second reload when running calibrated, and I would highly suggest that you do run calibrated because this gun gets HESH, and that HESH penetration goes up to 230 when you run the calibrated. If you put on the gun rammer, it's only 210. So really there's no point to do that. It's just a waste. I probably would not be able to pen the 62A if I was not running calibrated. Gun rammer would definitely not have penned that shot on the front plate, and that is one of the big differences. Definitely pull it out. It's always better to penetrate your shot than bounce it. Now, you can see that it also actually has a very good armor plate, and you'd be like, well, how thick is it? It's actually about 270, 280 thick on the upper plate. And you'd be like, well, how is that balanced? Well, the bad weak spot of this tank is actually the turret, which is a big weak spot. It's only about 200 thick in the turret, but it's really kind of a troll because people shoot at the hull, ignoring the turret, and they will bounce your tank. But really, if you listen to this video, shoot it in the turret, you can pretty much HESH it with anything. 183, you could probably put a high explosive right through the turret, taking off pretty much 90% of its hit points. It really has about 0 armor on the turret. Another thing this vehicle has is it's very quick. It actually has a pretty good power to weight ratio. And the concealment ratio is also 27%, but this vehicle manages to go 50 forwards and 20 backwards with a power to weight ratio of 31.82, which is very nice, and this vehicle, because of that, gets a traverse speed of 60.75. Not to mention, it has 10 degrees of gun depression. Overall, this is just a very strong vehicle, and if you don't like HESH that much, or you're beginning and you're not a great HESH user, you can always put the secondary gun on this tank. I'm not going to talk about that gun too much in this video, but that gun gets heat instead of the primary HESH, but it still gets 120mm penetration HESH, which is pretty good, but it does sacrifice that really awesome HESH for heat rounds. So if you are not as great with HESH, I would suggest to do that, or you just like to keep your bank account in check. As you can see, even with premium and a victory, 3,059 damage, negative 25,000 credits. But let's get stuck into that second replay so I can really just show you how powerful this tank can be in the right scenario. Now, this game is on desert sands, and this is probably one of the best replays I've had in the FV4202 in a while. I decided to swing it out once, and I managed to get myself stuck in a match against 2 Primo members in a platoon. And I'm in a platoon with my buddy Death from the Clear clan. He's a pretty good player, but I was not expecting the match to come out the way it did, in the manner that it actually happened to play out. But as you can expect, I would always target the Prima player, even if I'm in the same clan, especially if I'm in the same clan, because I know what they're capable of. And you should probably target them, but don't target them in a manner where you're causing your team to lose, like I talked about in that 57 heavy game, where the IS-4 looked at me so hard he caused his team to actually be able to overrun very easily. I mean, our team to overrun his team very easily. Never focus a better player than you so hard that you're getting shot at by other tanks that you're not even focusing. That is not how you want to do it. But you can see we've got 2 HESH shells in already. 506 damage on that second shell. That is a crazy amount of damage. We've done 1,000 damage in 2 shells. A 62A would have to penetrate 3 to pull out that much damage. And not to mention we blocked out 640. So we're doing pretty good so far. And this game was played just last night. I just decided to pull out the tank once. And I'm like, okay, we'll see how it goes. Now you can't see, there's the weakness, which is the turret pens it right through with an AP round, taking about 610 off me, I think. And I'm using that excellent gun depression, just trying to see if I can steal a shot into his tank. Unfortunately, I cannot. but I do know that I can at least take a shell from him and be able to finish him off easily. Now this is the other Primal guy. Slam HE right into him, and ram, dead. And now I am coming for the grill. Now, clearing a grill at this tank is probably one of the easiest things you will ever encounter. Now you can see I actually don't keep the normal high explosive. I'm a bit of a money waster. I really don't get the point of running normal high explosive if I can run the primary HESH, which has about twice as much penetration. If the secondary HESH, which just has less penetration, I guess it would work for a grill or weakly armored tanks, but I just like to use the expensive HESH. It doesn't really matter for me. I have a lot of credits wasted on my account anyways, but you can see we can even penetrate the rear of an IS-4 pretty easily. 2,949 damage we've done. And I've actually gotten this IS-4 so distracted he's managed to turn his whole tank around, letting my entire team over there to push through. And now we spot the 268. And you're like, okay, alright, I'm going to back up, bleed the shell into the front track wheel, try and use that armor. I don't know how that shot penned. Thank you, Wargaming. I come up behind him. I load in APCR because I know my standard ammunition is enough damage to kill him. Go back to the HESH immediately because I know I can pen the lower plate of an IS-4. You can see just turns his tank too much. If he hadn't have done that, I would not have been able to pen. He actually gives up for Stalin. You can see there 542. Now you may be asking, how did that HESH penetrate, even though it was not really looking very clear? And the reason it did is because if you saw it was just a bit less orange than the top color. And in my opinion, when it is like that and you do shoot, it can actually do more than the average damage it says. So as you saw, we did 500 instead of 400. But unfortunately, I do not get the last shell, but I still managed to pick up a whopping 5,977 damage. Now, if that amount of damage alone doesn't say how good this vehicle is, you guys must be going crazy, because I surely am. But you can see, we just did spectacular. This was even better than that 113 game I managed to rant about. Only 14 shells did that entire amount of damage, and we actually came out positive in credits, even though we fired, I think, pretty much almost all HESH except for one shell, which is pretty impressive. So this pretty much shows a good example of just how to run the vehicle. Always want to use your gun depression. Try and let people shoot your front track wheel. Just bleed it out, go back and forth. It definitely absorbs shots. Overall, I think it is one of the strongest tier 10 mediums in the game. Probably the most overpowered, to be honest, in the game, if you know how to work it. Because the 121 has 3,000 damage per minute with 400 alpha. This has 440 alpha. How is that even fair compared to the 121? The 121, it doesn't even have gun depression. It's slower. It's a bigger target. Really, this vehicle is much better than most of the tier 10s in the game, and I really would suggest to pick it up. I would definitely suggest to pick this up over pretty much any of the tier 10 mediums in the game except for the E50M, which I will be making a video on soon if you do like it. Thanks for watching this video, though. I will leave a link to my Discord in the comments down below, so you can come and join that. If I ever do start doing live streams, you can help me out, as well as my Patreon. If you do want to fund me, it's like $1 a month or something. I'm not even sure. But thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.